Hey Sarah, thanks for helping me resolve my client scenario involving providing responsible psychological services to new client Ben and existing client Luke. Australian Psychological Society Code of Ethics General Principle B proprietary versus the possible harm to Ben and Luke if appropriate levels of confidentiality aren't maintained. Australian Psychological Society Code of Ethics General Principle A respect. The applicable Australian Psychological Society Code of Ethics standards are professional responsibility B5, confidentiality A51, provision of psychological services to multiple clients B5, and termination of psychological services B11.1. The standard professional responsibility directs psychologists to act with care and skill, take reasonable steps to prevent harm, and to establish and maintain professional boundaries with client. Ben and Luke live together, and it's very possible that I may cause harm if I don't provide psychological services in a responsible manner. The standard confidentiality informs of the responsibility to protect personal and sensitive information and for reasonable steps to be taken to safeguard confidentiality. Outside of the practice, Ben and Luke have the right to privacy, and I may not be able to protect their privacy in our small community if I cannot safeguard their confidentiality. The Australian Federal Privacy Act 1988 and several Victorian Acts apply in matters of confidentiality, the Charter of Human Rights and Responsibilities Act 2006, the Health Records Act 2001, and the Privacy and Data Protection Act 2014. Further legal advice may be required on these issues. However, these acts inform of a person's right to not have their privacy, family, home, or correspondence unlawfully or arbitrarily interfered with, including the responsible collection and handling of personal information. This is in addition to enforcing the protection of the individual's privacy, including the privacy of health information held in private and public sectors. This type of scenario is quite common in small communities and documented in literature. Elizabeth Oxnam, in a study, explored the ethical issues for psychologists working in remote regions of Queensland. Confidentiality was in the top 5 and related to challenges of anonymity, including protecting the knowledge of providing psychological services. This was similar to research by Jane Warren with licensed and certified mental health professionals in a rural state of the United States. Confidentiality was top 3 concern for health professionals. In the same study by Elizabeth Oxnam, issues of treating friends and family were identified. Here it was up to the discretion of psychologists to set the boundaries. This was also the case for authors Daniel Mullion and Joseph Stenger in their article, Ethical Matters in Rural Integrated Primary Care Settings. They also recommended setting clear boundaries where no alternative is available for therapy. And this is all in the absence of clear standards in the APS Code of Ethics and the American Psychological Association Ethical Principles of Psychologists and Code of Conduct. For me personally, my natural instinct as a parent is to help with their relationship and the challenges of living together. This may blur the therapeutic relationship and the primary reason for Ben and Luke seeking therapy in the decisions I make. My loyalty to Luke could affect how I navigate providing psychological services for Ben, and this could be to Ben's disadvantage. Luke and I have worked together for over 4 months and developed a strong therapeutic relationship. My personal values of equity and equality oblige me to respect both Ben and Luke's right to therapy and the right to access the same resources and help and support. Referring Ben to another therapist challenges my values, and I feel intensely that taking this approach would be something that would not sit comfortably with me. However, Luke has the right to continue to receive psychological services. Standard B level informs of termination of psychological services when it's reasonably clear the client is not benefiting. Luke has made great progress with me over the last 4 months. It's possible Luke's relationship and trust with me may be compromised in the knowledge that I'm also helping Ben. This could worsen his vulnerability to stress and anxiety. Ben has the right to engage in psychological services referred to him by his GP and available to him in the community. Standard B5 informs of the psychological services to multiple clients when limits of confidentiality are explained. Ben's obsessive cleaning behaviour could escalate if he does not receive adequate care. Ben may reject the referral, making him vulnerable to extreme impacts on his daily life. As for me, I have the right to choose my own clients and to terminate psychological services according to standard B5 and B11.1. I'm vulnerable to the extra stress to safeguard Ben and Luke's confidentiality and provide psychological services in a responsible manner. This may impact my own physical and mental health. I've decided on two possible options for this scenario. One, terminate the provision of psychological services with Ben, and two, provide psychological services to both Ben and Luke. On the positive, terminating the provision of psychological services with Ben would satisfy confidentiality and the complexity around professional responsibility. This decision could also have negative consequences for Ben. Ben has come to me for help and may experience distress and confusion to be referred to. Ben may not take up the referral and end up with no support, and this may increase the severity of his obsessive cleaning behaviour. The decision to continue to provide psychological services to Ben and Luke would be a positive outcome for both. It could help them with their challenges living together and may even strengthen their relationship. On the negative, providing psychological services to Ben and Luke would require more protocols in my practice to safeguard Ben and Luke's confidentiality. I'd also have to ensure greater care in setting boundaries in the absence of clear APS code of ethics standard, and this may put extra stress and pressure on me to affect my mental health. Taking everything into account, I've decided to provide psychological services to Ben and Luke. This will be enacted by regularly revisiting with Ben and Luke the limits to their confidentiality, seek consultation with experienced colleagues to provide psychological services in an appropriate manner and maintain a level of competence, keep appointments between Luke and Ben on different days or at either ends of the day if on the same day, enforce strict protocols to ensure appropriate calendars are secure, not within sight of clients or members of the public in the waiting area, and book appointments 15 to 20 minutes in between clients to give clients the time to pay and leave before the next client arrives. Let me know what you think.